And a very good evening to you. I am Griffin Epstein, joining you from the PHS High School Gym as your Petaluma Trojans take on the Healdsburg Greyhounds in a very pivotal SCL League match. The Trojans come in 6-0, undefeated in league, and a victory tonight will really assert themselves on top of the standings. Healdsburg comes in 4-2. But boy, have they been playing well of lately. They are now in a tie for second place in SCL with both Sonoma and Annalee, and they have their most impressive victory of the season, defeating Annalee on the road 54-45 in the Tiger Den. And the Tigers' only loss of the season before that was to the Trojans, and what had previously been the Trojans' most impressive victory. And now these two teams will battle, I think, the two most confident teams in all of SCL. Healdsburg lost their first two games in SCL to the Trojans. First game was in overtime. Trojans came back to get a 40-36 victory, and then in the second game, for Healdsburg, they lost to Sonoma in overtime. And since then, they have won 4 straight. We're underway. There is the tip. Healdsburg and Petaluma in this big one. Appreciate everyone tuning in as we're bringing it live from the PHS gym. First shot off the mark. Healdsburg's got some size, and the Trojans are going to have to deal with it, but they defended very well up at Healdsburg in their last matchup. Chris pulls down the offensive board. Kelsey Martin, Courtney Temple, Jaden Christ, Nicole Costa, and Kylie Pete, the starting 5. Aggressive move by Kristen side, but she can't finish. Griffin Epstein joining here for play-by-play. Annika Schmidt on camera tonight. Trojans looking for their first SCL titles in 2013. Reached the halfway point with a victory against Piner, and it was a good one. We live-streamed it. A 1-point victory against Piner on Friday night as the 3-ball is good for number 11 on Healdsburg, Marsden, with the 3-ball. And they will take the lead here 3-0. And the Trojans have to be very careful. They come in confident, but Healdsburg, they are absolutely brimming with a high level of confidence. Chris, they just go into her, and Jaden Christ lays it in. And that is a recipe for success for the Trojans if they want to get going offensively. 2 minutes in, Healdsburg leads 3-2. And again, back inside. Could be a battle inside. Who wins it between Chris and the Healdsburg center, Rogers. Healdsburg has been scoring very well lately. They're going to toss the Trojan defense. Perfect pass to the captain, Nicole Costa, who was driving in. She just couldn't finish there. Healdsburg's already shown they have the capability to be very patient, but even the Tigers, who'd been playing offensively so well when they came in here 2 Friday nights ago, could not score in the second half. Healdsburg pulls down an offensive board, but the 3-ball off the mark from Webb. The Trojans don't want to allow too many of those. The way Healdsburg's confident, offensive boards are not a good recipe for success here. Started the second half of this SCL season. Both teams playing 6 games of travel there on the senior Kelsey Martin. As we mentioned, if you're just joining us, Trojans are 6-0 on the season, undefeated. They've defeated every SCL team. Healdsburg 4-2, a tie for second with Annalee and Sonoma. But those only 2 losses to the Trojans in the opening game of the season, and then to Sonoma in the very next game, both in overtime, and they blew leads in both of those, and then defeated Annalee last Friday night in Sebastopol. Good tip by Costa. Pate pulls it down. Long 2 by Martin off the mark, and somehow Temple didn't pull down that offensive board. Appreciate Warrior tuning in as always. Couldn't finish, but a nice drive by Tayak. Talented point guard for the Greyhounds, and there's a lot of talent on this team. They try to go back inside to Temple, and a foul called on Webb. First team foul on the Greyhounds. Trojans 15-5 overall in the season. This would be their 9th straight victory if they can win tonight, as Kylie Pate hits a 3. Great inbounds play that set up Pate, and she leads the Trojans in three-point shooting. She's got another one there. She actually shoots better from the three-point line, 35%, than from the field, 31%. She is so confident from the line. She brags about it in class, about how confident a shooter she is behind the line, more than she is going inside because there's too much traffic there for her. It's all about personal preference. Tied here at 5. Floater is no good from Bynum. And a good tough board pulled down by Nicole Costa. The Trojans' hope is gaining a little bit of confidence. Played well on since Piner as they go back inside to Chris, and she has an early 4. Trojans take their first lead of this one. Head coach for the Greyhounds is Steve Zizici. Boys, he done a great job. Greyhounds haven't always been a great program, but had a strong year last year. Were the 3rd best team in SCL. Couldn't beat Sonoma and Annalee, but now they've done it, and this might be their year for an SCL title, they hope. Petaluma's only going to probably get better next year, but they won't be in the same league anyways due to the realignment. But Healdsburg, if they can win this one, will be square in the race for an SCL title as Chris comes outside the paint and provides a block. And she is just such a force defensively. No way to really handle her. And even for Healdsburg, it's going to give issues. They love offensively to stretch her out to the three-point line, which you see. Ericat making an early entrance here, and she had the lay-in and just could not finish. The breakout sophomore for the Trojans. 7-5 here. Good defense by Chris, and they are reading those passes inside to the big girl Rogers. They did not let that even happen. A lot of good turnovers forced early here. Back inside to Chris. She is looking good tonight. And even though she's got Webb guarding her, who's really size-wise, or excuse me, she's got Rogers guarding her, who size-wise, as we have a timeout by Healdsburg, is about equal. Chris has just inserted her will. They've gone into her. And as I think they've gone away less offensively from Chris, Healdsburg really hasn't locked down on that lane, and that was an issue that when the Trojans would just try to feed the ball to Chris, other teams were ready for it, anticipating it. And Chris was, yes, and Chris really had trouble inside for the Trojans. What? This one right here. Yeah. It just needs to be, it needs to be right here. No. So this, see if I push it in just right, it shows up there, but if I let go, it goes gone. Greer Moss joining me as well, as Healdsburg can't finish coming out of the timeout, and Trojan ball. 4-point lead here early for the Trojans, who are going down to Chris so far. 6-point lead. Aggressive move by Ericat inside. She is fouled and will head to the line for 2 shots. Second team foul on the Greyhounds. Ericat can hit the first free throw, even though the Trojans have been really good from the line. 62% from the line this year, up from 50% last year, but obviously a relatively dismal season last year. Oh, you got it. Thank you, Greer. 10-5, 2:20 left to go. Next, could you flip around this table? It's facing the right, but don't touch the camera. And back inside, they try to go to Webb, but right now, this Trojan defense with Jaden Christ inside is going to cause issues. It's going to force Healdsburg to hit some shots outside, but that time Webb was ready for the pass, interior pass into Christ, and easily intercepted. Another steal by Christ. Ericat races for the loose ball and pulls it down. And that was a intermittent whistle there. An erroneous whistle, I think would be the word. Could you get, Greer, could you get the framing right on there, but try to be careful with it so you still see it? Back inside they go. And the Trojans are just not wanting them to go there. They want them to shoot outside shots, and that's what happened against Piner, as it will remain Healdsburg ball. Martson with the three-pointer off the mark there. Trojans want Healdsburg, forced them to shoot threes, and they did that against Piner, but Piner got going from the three-point line on Friday night, as we see an offensive board and the lay-in by Sufer. And as Piner got going, they closed the gap. The Trojans were leading by 13 at halftime, and it really fell apart from there as they go back inside to Chris. Sufer tried to anticipate the pass, but it sailed right over her head, and it was easy pickings for Jaden Chris. Coach Ratchin has to be absolutely delighted so far. Three ball is off the mark. Chris pulls down the board. Greer, if you want to get the mic from Monica, you can do a little co-anchoring with me. Angelina Scacolosi has entered. Greer Moss will be joining me in just a moment. 13-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Trojans tried to go 2 for 1 there, but couldn't get something going fast enough, and a good jump ball force, and the arrow will remain on the Trojans, so they can still hold for the last shot of this first half. 12-7, the early score here. Pivotal SCL mid-season matchup. Healdsburg in second place at 4-2. Era Katz three ball is 3 feet too high. Offensive board, Catarizoli can't finish. She pulls down her own shot. And if the Trojans could pull down some offensive boards, it is going to go well for them tonight. Pate already hit 1-3, can't hit that one. Trojans a little bit, I think, too, shot hurry there, but Healdsburg's not able to get a shot on their own. It's off the mark. We sound good, Greer? It's because you have to turn it on. There you go.
Idea.
Yes, now we will hear you. You want to throw it on us?
All right.
Can you press the screen where we are? All right, there we are. Well, that framing looks wonderful.
Yeah,
Greer Moss joining me.
Yeah.
And the Trojans lead 12-7 here. I don't know. You were helping me out. I don't know how much you got a chance to watch, but a lot of excitement around this Varsity girls basketball team, isn't there?
Yeah, quite a lot of excitement here tonight.
And they're undefeated. They're 6-0 in SCL. They're trying to win their first SCL title since 2013. How do they deal with that pressure now? They have that target on this back. This is the biggest game of the season for Healdsburg.
That's really intense, you know. Healdsburg's usually, for our school, kind of a hard rival.
Yeah.
It's usually Healdsburg and Annalee. So I really think that the girls can pull out a win here tonight.
You want to press the court on there? Thank you. So completed the first 8 minutes of this first quarter. Trojans leave 12-7, and it was the Jaden Chris show in that first quarter. They don't want to get into her foul trouble. That was an issue in their victory against Northgate a week ago. And they had to find other places to go offensively. Right now, it's both teams trying to win that battle inside. Healdsburg trying to go back into Rogers, who was so good. And what impact did Jaden Chris make on the Trojans using her height? They've gone to her all night long so far.
Yeah, that's a pretty good advantage in basketball, I'd say. It's height, closer to the rim. Definitely.
Era Cat with the aggressiveness, can't finish.
You can get rebounds easier.
And Chris does also lead the Trojans in rebounds as they get another steal.
Tall, that makes sense.
Chris with almost 7 rebounds per game for the Trojans, well more than anyone else on the team. Catarizoli was wide open, but the pass was well read by Webb, who's doing it all out there so far for the Greyhounds. They're stuck within 5 here. Trojans want to play a complete game and finish against Healdsburg. That's going to be tough. Healdsburg, a very talented team. The Trojans beat them in overtime. They had to come back to get a victory when they played them earlier.
Wow.
Catarizoli battling. Try to get it into Stacolosi, and there's some decision-making. They're going to rule Healdsburg ball here. Chris leads the Trojans scoring, averaging almost 9 points per game. Ericat right behind her at 8.5. But she's lost her shooting touch a little bit as teams have really crashed down on that passing lane. But you can see the Trojans have made some adjustments to try to get her more involved. Healdsburg got their own big center in Rogers, but good defense there by Chris, who's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. Jump shot off the mark, and it will be Trojan Mull. Trojans have such a tenacious defense, don't they? It's so hard to score against them.
It really is. I have to agree.
And the Trojans beat Annalee 60-52, and that sounds like a fair amount of points from the Tigers as Cat goes in and forces a jump ball. That's the aggressiveness you want to see, and Shireen brings that nightly. But in that second half, Annalee could not score for the life of them, the most prolific offense in SCL. And that was how the Trojans got a victory. They got so confident, they did not let Annalee in the paint, and there was no chance. What a beautiful pass from Krista Scacalosi. She didn't even turn to see that she was there. It was a no-look pass. And an easy lay-in by Scacalosi. That was impressive, wasn't it?
That was extremely impressive.
Really shows the chemistry on this team that Jade and Chris didn't even have to look to where Scacalosi was, and she knew she would be there.
She knew she was going to get that pass. You really got to, in basketball, got to rely on your teammates a lot.
Chemistry is vital, and the Trojans have so much of that. Marston with the 3 keeps the Greyhounds into it and gets the lead down to 4 here. Scacalosi to the rack, can't finish, and then a chippy foul called there by Webb, who pulled down the offensive board. Only first-team foul, though, on the Trojans, and only 2 so far on Healdsburg, so they've called it pretty loosely, which is good to see. The Pioneer game was not well refereed on Friday night, and it almost cost the Trojans the game in that 1-point 43-42 victory. Cat with the winning 3-throw in that as the Trojans held on. Scacalosi pulling down a hard-nosed offensive board after the wild jumper was off the mark from Rogers. And the Trojans' chemistry helped so much with 8 returning varsity players, only 4 new players, but even the JV players have felt like they've stuck right into the system.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a very welcoming environment here on the varsity team.
Cat again, and she wants to get going. Beautiful spin move around in the lay-in, and the lead back out to 16-10, and it must help them so much that the returners from last year, you have 8 returners.
Yeah, that's a lot for a varsity team.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge advantage in a sport like this.
Greyhounds trying to get Rogers going. I think that's the only way they win this one. If Rogers can get going inside, and she has 6. They've found a way. Nonetheless, Chris has done a good job defensively. She might play this whole game, but the importance she's shown. Cat again with her aggressiveness, but called for the travel. Costa got a long break. She will sub back in. Catarizzoli takes his seat. How is it important for Nicole Costa, the team captain, to really lead the team?
You know, the team captain has a lot of responsibilities. They really got to bring the team together, so it's good she's staying rested.
Went off Rogers' face, and somehow she still held on, but she has to go all the way out to the 3-point line, and that is not where the Hounds want her. Drive inside, but that is just not how you're going to ever score against the Trojans, the way their defense is set up. It was Marsden, but the Trojans build a wall, and I've said that a lot in a lot of broadcasts, but they truly build a wall around the paint, and they just don't let Greyhounds in. Another perfect pass to Scacalosi. That time she just couldn't finish, but that showed the chemistry again, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. It's pretty insane how they just, they know they're going to be there. Looks like Bella Weinberg's subbing in.
A sophomore, one of the 4 players called up from JV. They go back to Webb. Feels like the Trojans are in control of this game, and yet they only lead by 2 here. And took Shireen Cat. She pretty much ripped it out of the Greyhounds' hands. Couldn't finish, but they pulled down an offensive board.
Try and get this lead up by 4.
Chris, that's not where she wants to shoot the ball. Needs to be in the paint. Players getting on the ground. I think. Thought I saw maybe a foot to the face there. I wasn't sure. There was a lot of flailing body parts, wasn't there?
There was. It looks like a timeout.
Yeah, you want to put it back on us?
I will. Looks like they're going to sub in Bella Weinberg in a minute.
Yeah, so she'll try to help with that height, but both teams are battling hard here due to this vital game with Healdsburg is a tie for 2nd place. They get a victory. They're in 1st place. If they lose, they're pretty much out of the SCL title. If the Trojans can get this victory, they are really in a good spot to win the SCL.
I mean, the Trojans are undefeated right now, and I think that they're extremely passionate, and they're ready to win this game.
And they're so confident as well. This would be their 8th straight victory if they can win it tonight. They're 12-2 in their last 14 games. Let's head back on court. They're 12-2 in their last 14 games. And That just builds
Scapolosi
a level
sat
of
down.
confidence. And this was a team as good red pass by Rogers trying to get it back to Chris. This was a team that before the game mingling by me and just were talking with an air of confidence and coolness, and it was no cockiness about it. They just seemed very calm and confident about how they're playing right now and that they can get a victory. Back into Era Cat, and she is so good at running the floor and so good at finishing at contact. She's truly a special player. Is only a sophomore to be second in scoring.
Yeah, it's really insane. She's a hard worker. We can see that on the court. She's really got the drive.
There's no doubt about that. Really is the drive in all aspects of her life. On the classroom and whatever passion she's going for is the foul on Costa there and a shooting foul. And it will be Van Zerfen from the line. Mention Healdsburg. They defeated Annalee on Friday night, 54-45. They're feeling confident, too. They have 4 straight victories.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence factor, I think, is going to play a huge role in this game. The Trojans really just got to push and get this victory.
And so far, we've seen both teams, I think, play with a level of that their offense has worked and that they want to try to have it continue.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of drive here tonight.
Pair is split, and Healdsburg, those 2 losses, they fell to Sonoma Valley, 54-52 in overtime at the Dragons' Den. And against the Trojans, that was on early first SEL game of the season, January 3rd, the Trojans came back from an 11-point deficit, and they got the victory 40-36 after they had a disastrous first half. Christ's 3 is off the mark. Trojans have gone a little cold here in the second half. It's credit to the defense, but not a lot of offense so far in this one. Good ball movement, but of travel. Van Surfen.
I mean, like you said, that's really not going to work. They can't just drive it to the hoop.
They're going to have to try some threes. There's no doubt about it. And sometimes it takes a while. It's happened with Piner on Friday night. They trailed by 13, couldn't get threes from their 2 best players, and then they suddenly started hitting them as Pate, speaking of hitting threes, gets one. Piner finally got confident, started hitting some threes, and the Trojans barely held on in that one.
Yeah, they really did. We're gonna see a lot of action here tonight, looks like.
Trojans have shown some great poise, and they know how to win as Era Cat reads that pass perfectly. Can't finish, but it pulls down her own rebound. Trojans have already done that, I think, 5 times tonight. 3 ball by Era Cat, well off the mark. 1 minute remaining here in this first half, and Trojans have played a bunch of close games. They had the Healdsburg overtime game. They had the Piner game was close. The Annalee game was close throughout. But always in all those close games, they've showed a remarkable poise and an ability to finish.
Yeah, that's really what it's about here tonight. I mean, both teams extremely motivated, so it's just going to come down to who can keep pushing.
And as they go back inside to Chris, she can't finish. In a really good job by Healdsburg, mixing up their plan. Rogers is pushing her farther out of the paint. And her shots, she's not getting as deep inside the post. Her shots are a lot farther out, and she's not comfortable shooting it from there. 49% from the field nonetheless, but that's inflated from all her close shots. Shot clock is turned off here with the Trojans leading by 6, but they never show the ability to wait. Era Cat pulls down her offensive own rebound. Chris' shot hits off the side of the backboard. 5 seconds left. Healdsburg's got to rush it, and they throw it over the head of Bynum, who was wide open, too. Greyhounds got to convert on that, don't they?
They really do.
That will do it for the first half. Trojans lead 21-15 against the Greyhounds here. A low-scoring first half. Trojans with the lead here, but the Greyhounds, it feels like, are going to stick around all night long. You want to throw it back on us, Greer?
I will.
Griffin Epstein here, along with Greer Moss. Annika Schmidt will join us in just a moment here. And Trojans have to be satisfied with that first half, but they think they want to get something a little bit more offensively going.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a good game. I mean, it has been so far. We're up by 6. As long as, we can keep that lead, got to stay strong, and I think we can pull through.
And the Trojans have been going inside to Chris in that first quarter. That's how they scored there. 8 points for Jaden Christ in that first quarter, but a really good job by Healdsburg making some adjustments. They went, Square's having some trouble with her mic. They went inside. They tried to go back inside to Chris. Healdsburg had those passing lanes down, and that's been the issue for the Trojans lately when they've tried to go to Chris. But when the offense has gone well, they've had other players step up. How do they have some other players step up? Pate's hit 2 threes tonight, which she might be the player.
I mean, they're definitely, I think they're realizing that they can't let the whole team be carried on few people. They really got to work together on this.
And that's a key. You see that with many teams, that you can't just rely on your stars to do it. Eric Katz's been very aggressive tonight. She has a couple points as well, but the Trojans can hit some threes. That will open it back up inside for Chris, and that's going to make them hard to stop.
It really is. I mean, we still got 2 quarters to go. It's going to be a tough game, but if we can do this, it's going to really set us up for SCL. Like you said, it would be our first win since 2013.
Yes, that would be a huge one.
It would be pretty big, I think. It's definitely quite the legacy for this team, considering that there are 8 returners. Right.
And even only 3 seniors on this team is still relatively young. A lot of juniors. They're going to be really good next year as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to have at least 4 or 5 returners next year that are seniors.
Right.
And I think that next year the team's going to be even stronger.
And really starting to build that dynasty back. They used to be such an outstanding program, went through some tough times, 9-18 last year, only 5-7 in SCL. Last year they lost to Healdsburg in both of their games, 47-45 and 48-37. But obviously so much improvement this year.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I mean, like you said, they're definitely building that dynasty back up. Clearly these girls really want to leave a legacy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they're doing that.
And they're really rebuilding that dynasty, as you said. Their schedule coming up, it gets a little easier at LC Allen on Thursday. They'll be back home against El Molino on the 30th. The big game at Annalee, assuming Annalee does not lose before then, that one could be the game that decides it if the Trojans want to put away the SCL title. At Annalee, a tough place to play. It's going to be a Saturday evening game. We will be there with coverage, not live, but that game will be on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be a tough game. Playing at home Saturday night, there's probably be a large turnout, and that's always intimidating.
Absolutely, and the Tigers' lair is quite something. They have a pit as their court going down. Feels like the crowd is literally on top of you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's always hard. You see the games here. Our student section goes wild.
Often can be tough to play as well. Boys basketball teams had a lot of success here at home, helped by the crowd. Senior night, this will be our final scheduled girls basketball live stream, is February 6th against Sonoma Valley, who's also 4-2. Annalee, Healdsburg, and Sonoma, all 4-2 on the season. So all 3 of those games are important. That could be the one that officially puts the SCL title away, and the Trojans will be honoring their 3 seniors, Kelsey Martin, Nicole Costa, and Courtney Temple, that have meant so much to this program, and then they finish the season at Piner, which is not easy, judging by the game on Friday.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, it's going to be a tough rest of the season for these girls, but if they want to stay undefeated, I think that they just got to stay motivated. They really got to push through this.
And they went halfway through the SCL season undefeated. They beat everyone, so it feels like they are probably the best team out there. They keep on doing what they're doing. That's what they say. Keep on keeping that confidence. They're going to win it.
They really are. I believe in our team. They got this.
And they will be making the SCL tournament. They'll likely be a 1 seed. If they win SCL, they'll be a 1 seed. That's 4 teams make it. I believe that game will be the Monday after the 8th, so that would be the 11th. If they're 1 or 2 seed, they'll be at home. We will definitely live stream that big game, and then they'll look for the double-double if they can win that game and try to go to the SCL tournament final. Who knows where they'll face? That would be Saturday night at the JC if they make it that far.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the girls are ready to do that. They're ready to win SCL this year. They want it back. It's been a while.
And they last went to NCS in 2014-2015, which was the year after legendary coach Doug Johnson retired. Been through some years of rebuilding, but Coach Ratchen's definitely going to have the team back in NCS. If they can complete this undefeated, win the SCL tournament, I think they will have a home game in NCS, which would be remarkable considering they were nowhere near even making it to the NCS playoffs last year.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see the improvement. I think it really has to do with those 8 returners. so half of them being juniors, this is going to be an extremely strong team this year, as we've seen, an extremely strong team next year. I think they're only going to build upon this.
Absolutely. We will see if the Trojans can finish tonight. And changing the topic a little bit with 4 minutes left to go here before we start the second half, and should be a good finish here with these two top SCL teams. Greer, you're taking part, I know, in the drama production.
Yes.
Would you like to tell our audience a little more about that?
Which one? I mean, we have...
Are there multiple?
Well, we have dinner theater coming up. We have the musical coming up. And right now we're performing at Linnea in a little under 2 weeks. Our director's been out sick for a while. So we're struggling a little bit. But I think that we can definitely pull out a win at Linnea this year.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. I mean, last year we got bronze, the year before silver. But our tech is really shooting for gold this year, and I think that we have a good chance.
And what will the is a musical?
The musical, it'll be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We're going to have auditions soon. That should be exciting. And then we have dinner theater going on, which is always a fun murder mystery, directed by Yasmin this year. So it's all really exciting. It's all coming up. I'll be assistant stage managing the musical, and I'll be in the one act. I'll be in the dinner theater, and I'm currently in the one act, as well as helping direct.
At Linnea.
At Linnea, yeah. So that should be exciting.
And what's your role as assistant stage producer? Manager. What do you do?
That entails a lot of, just helping out backstage, trying to wrangle the actors. That's always a tough job. I mean, yeah, we made it through our first play in the fall, which was...
Heard it was very good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was Streetcar Named Desire. Looks like I have to go.
Oh, all right.
I'm going
well,
to babysit,
thank you so much, Greer. Have fun babysitting.
Yeah,
looking fun to the drama, and I know looking forward to the second half. We will see you tomorrow. Greer, a wonderful member of our Trojan Live team. What department are you currently in? Video department. So does very productive. Does a great job there. I know. Take care, Greer. We got 2:20 left to go here before the start of the second half, as your Petaluma Trojans taking on the Healdsburg Greyhounds, the first and a tie for second place team here in SCL. Appreciate everyone tuning in live. Should be a good one. Feel free to comment on the live chat with any thoughts, comments, concerns, or questions for us. You can also like this video, subscribe to the channel. You get an email whenever we go live. You can check out all of our other Varsity Girls and Varsity Boys basketball games on our YouTube channel. We got the boys basketball's crushing loss to Healdsburg, but it was a really good game. Last Thursday, the girls basketball game against Pioneer on Friday, and all the other games. I think we're already up to about 12 Varsity Boys and Varsity Girls basketball games this season. Also have our games on the road that we go out and cover as well. We got a Varsity Girls soccer game on there. They are playing really well. They have a huge game against Annalee this Friday night. I will be there covering that. We'll have the full game up on our YouTube channel by that evening. That's going to be a huge one. Trojans are 5-1 or 6-1 now in SCL. They're halfway through their schedule. They have beaten everyone except Annalee, and in that one, they really dominated the Tigers for 70 minutes. They led 1-0, but the Tigers scored 2 late goals. That is their only loss. If they can beat the Tigers, they're in a great spot to take on the SCL title. That would be quite something, so definitely check that out. And our wrestling team doing very well. They are undefeated in SCL. Look on their way to an SCL title. Probably beat their best opponent in Sonoma. They'll still have to win the SCL tournament championship game, and they got a good match against Annalee, which is a week from tomorrow, and we will be live at that from the PHS multi-purpose room, as that should be a lot of fun. As they take on the Annalee Tigers rivals, be honoring their seniors. That starts at 6, and the wrestlers really such a great group of people there. A lot of fun to watch and call, and it's a really great sport as well. So we definitely recommend not missing out on that. Our next live stream is Monday night, the Varsity Boys basketball team in an important game against Pioneer. Last gasp if they want to take home an SCL title, and important for NCS seeding, and if they want a home game for the FCL tournament, which would improve their chances of winning that. Still a lot to play for as Healdsburg's off the mark on their first shot. Still a lot to play for the Varsity Boys basketball team, even though they had the crushing loss to Healdsburg, who has now a 2-game lead on them, and Trojans now in 3rd place in SCL at the halfway mark. Take on LC Allen, shouldn't be much of a problem tomorrow night. tip is 7:30 for that Varsity boys basketball game on Monday. Aggressive defense, you can see there, and then Pate just throws it away. See if Healdsburg's a little bit more aggressive, try to keep the Trojans from going inside and getting Chris. Really did a good job in the second quarter. I'd say just keep it up. Only 15 points, though, for the Greyhounds in that first half. And drives haven't been working, but a little pick and roll there. And the nice lay-in by Bunham. Healdsburg 11-7 overall. Won a lot. Victories over Justin Sienna, Willits, Rosen Collegiate Prep. As Nicole Costa hits the jumper, along with being Forest Hill, Upper Links, St. Vincent's, which Trojans also beat, Credo. Good block by Temple inside. And even with the guards, they just have a different mentality defensively inside. It's just the team mentality is Trojan ball that you do not let the team inside the paint. You see that there. The Greyhounds just trying to probe and get something. Great pass to Martin. She just couldn't finish. No points for Kelsey Martin, who's been playing well, surprisingly, tonight. But the Trojans just do not let teams inside the paint, and that's what you see right there. You're just going to have to start jacking up threes. You're going to get a little frustrated. Annalee got really frustrated in that loss, and sometimes it's the other way. You do get confident from the three-point line, but it takes a skilled team to be able to do that. Foul called on Rogers, and it will be Nicole Costa at the line for 2. Healdsburg trying to win this game, give them a shot at the SCL title. They'd be in first place, but if they lose, they go 3 games back. Pretty much would virtually eliminate them. Big game against Sonoma Valley at home on Thursday for them, and then they finish the season at home against Annalee. Pate's 3-ball is off the mark, hit 2 early there. Trojans' offense just hasn't totally gone into a perfect rhythm tonight. They lead by 7. They've looked like the better team. Defensively, they've been dominant. Martin's the smaller girl there, and yet there was absolutely nowhere to go for Rogers. She leads the Healdsburg in scoring. That hit the top of the backboard. That is not at, still keeps the ball in play, but the Trojans pull down the crazy bounce. 5:30 and counting left to go here in the second half. Trojans lead by 7. Martin trying to get going, but she is rejected. Rogers again, even when she hasn't going offensively, she's been very good defensively inside, and the Trojans have had a little bit taste of their own medicine dealing with a team with a lot of size. Again, trying to take advantage of Martin with the switch, and the 3-ball is good. Mardson from downtown has missed a couple, but keep on trying. You just hit 1, and suddenly the game feels a lot closer the way this has been a defensive struggle. Costa trying to get involved. We've seen a lot of good passes, ball movement by the Trojans, but they just haven't developed what you want. That's perfect, and yet they just haven't been able to finish inside. Eric Cat, I would say, is really the only Trojan that is comfortable finishing through that aggression and pressure and a lot of contacts, and that's a hard thing to do. Chris and Rogers, who've been having a wonderful battle all night, probably the 2 best centers in SCL, some of the 2 best in Sonoma County battle. Get the jump ball, arrow points towards the purple and white. 4-point lead here for the Trojans, approaching the halfway point of the third quarter. Appreciate joining us live here from the Petaluma High School gym. Pivotal SCL matchup. Temple doesn't score a lot, but she handles the ball well. The point guard, only 1 point per game. Back out to Martin. She just can't get anything to fall. Kelsey Martin had 24 points in that victory against Annalee. She was remarkable. 3rd on the team in scoring right now, averaging 6.5 points per game. Trojan ball. Martin averaging 6.5 points per game, 4 rebounds. Shooting almost 40% from the field. She's really been good, but hasn't been able to get it going tonight. And it's hard to keep that intensity up. It's been an issue all year long with the lack of intensity by the Trojans. We've just seen dips and lapses of it. Eric Cat showing that aggressive, just couldn't finish. She wove through a couple Greyhounds, and then it was last touched by Paris Buchanan, who was entered for the first time here tonight. Greyhounds are just going to hang around here. It feels a little bit similar to Piner. The Trojans haven't been able to pull his way as much just because they haven't been able to get any offense yet. They've won games like this. They went to Sonoma, were down early there, and were able to pull out a 40-30 victory, which is defense couldn't get anything going. And Cat and Christ on the double team there. They throw it up ahead to Costa. Gosh. Just could not finish there. She's got to finish through that contact. When you're not confident with your shot like the Trojans aren't right now, that's what happens. And we're going to have to foul there. Non-shooting foul, first team foul on the Trojans. When you're just not confident with your shot, it snowballs, and it keeps on happening. The Trojans, they lose that aggressiveness. They just start passing the ball around the arc. They don't know where to go with it. Every shot feels like they have bricks on their back, and they're trying to throw it into a hole the size of a penny. Only one team foul on both. Hasn't been a factor in this one. It's been very loosely called. Great pass inside there. Cat. The Trojans can't put a ball in the ocean. Good effort by Chris to force the jump. It will switch the arrow, but it will stay Hounds' ball. Trojans ranked 388th in the state to 14th NCS Division II, but probably will go up a lot, and they need the A seed or higher to get a home game in NCS. Mentioned that at halftime. Cat already with a few steals tonight, not able to get it. And then a late foul called on the three-pointer. Wow. I don't know about that one. I've called it pretty loosely. Might have been a little bit late contact there, but Martson is going to head to the line for 3 free throws. And the lack of free throws here tonight, if I serves me correct, Greyhounds have had 1 trip to the line. Trojans have had 1 trip to the line before this, but every free throw is huge because I'm not sure we're going to get to 40 by either team tonight. Trojans averaging 46.6 points per game on the season, which is way up from they only averaged 32 points per game last season. They're only allowing 40 points per game, but it's really that number is inflated by when they've played teams that haven't been even to them, like St. Vincent's, El Molino, LC Allen, and they've pushed that number up when they faced a lot of top teams. Besides Annalee, they haven't been able to really get it going offensively. They've had quarters that have looked good. They've had halves that look good. Tonight, the first quarter looked good because Cat loses it. First quarter really looked good as they got it in to Jaden Chris, but since then, the Greyhounds have closed that passing lane down, and Trojans have really given up on giving it to Chris at all after had a lot of turnovers there in the second quarter. And credit to the Greyhounds for making the adjustment. Felt like they had to, as it was just too obvious. And Trojans made the adjustment as well as the drive is off the mark, and then Chris does a great job tapping the ball out of Rogers, who had 4 early points, but the Trojans made the same adjustment, cut down on that passing lane, double-teamed her if they got close, got physical with her, and Healdsburg's been forced to take outside shots, try to get some drives, hasn't worked. They try to throw it into Cat. Nothing working offensively right now. 5 points in this quarter. Trojans had just 13 points in the entire second half against Piner. So not a good practice to keep upholding right now. It was a 43-42 victory on Friday night against the Prospectors. It was a good one. Prospectors came back. Trojans showed great poise, and that's what you feel good about if this game gets close late, is that the Trojans are going to be able to hold their poise at the end. And Healdsburg's lost 2 overtime games. They haven't done a good job of that at all. Drive, it was very strong by Martson. A little screen, and they got Chris outside the paint, and that is absolutely what they want to do. They can somehow force Chris outside the paint as travel called on Pate. That's going to open up so much space inside for the Trojans. Even though you have Costa and Chris. Chris 5'11", Costa 5'10". But if you can pull them outside of the paint, there will be more room for those drives. Martson has the last 7 points for the Greyhounds. Inside to Sufer. She can't finish. Good defense by Costa, is guarding a much bigger player than her. Healdsburg has that size to counter the Trojans, and that's so huge because the Trojans are almost always the bigger team, and that makes it so challenging. It's been a lot of hard battles for rebounds, but the Trojans have won the majority of them, and that's why they're holding on to this 1-point lead. But they're holding on by a thread right now, and they need to find some offense. Threw it away. Did Pate. nothing going right on the offensive end. No field goals in the last 4 minutes. For some reason, that lack of confidence never loses its translation on the defensive end. Costa with another block there. She's fantastic defensively. 2.5 blocks per game. Pate, a steal per game. Trojans force a lot of turnovers. And that helps as well defensively. Maxton's felt confident. Another turnover forced. Costa with the ejection, trying to get out in transition and build some confidence that way. Oh, what a move by Scacolosi. She spun, she pivoted on her right foot through 2 Greyhounds. The pump fake got them up in the air, and then that was a strong finish through contact. They have to have some confidence and be able to finish through that contact and just find a way to throw balls in the ocean. They did it there. They've had some easy-looking shots that they just haven't been able to finish tonight, and that has been a major issue. 3-point lead now for the Trojans. 26 seconds left here in the third quarter. Shot clock is turned off, and this feels like it's going to be a close game unless the Trojans can get something going offensively. And ask Coach Ratchin after the Pioneer game when they really played a bad second half offensively, how do you fix it where everything snowballs and it just doesn't go right offensively? And he didn't really have a good answer for how to do that. He wants the team just smarter with the ball, calm down, take your time, but seen the team calm down a little bit, but they definitely do force things. And Coach Ratchet never calls a timeout there. Offensive board by Rogers. She lays it in. Shot clock turned off. Down to 5. Krista jumper. She hits it. She doesn't hit a lot out there. That's nice. And that will do it for the third quarter. 28-25. The lead here for the Trojans. As we have reached the end of 3. Appreciate everyone tuning live here on our channel with the Trojans trying to go to 7-0 in league. They have won 7 straight, looking for 8 straight tonight. They're 12-2 in their last 14 games, and they play with confidence defensively, but offensively, oh, hi, Annika, it just hasn't translated as much. Okay. Annika Schmidt as well doing a great job on camera tonight, so appreciate that as well. And as we mentioned, Trojans do have an easier schedule coming up, so I think that could be really helpful to get their confidence up. And when they played Annalee and put 60 points up in that game, and Kelsey Martin went off for 24, so that helped. But Elsie Allen and El Molino, they put up 69 against Elsie Allen, a solid 48 against El Molino, so that really got some of their shooters, I think, more confident going into that Annalee game. And right now, it's all about that confidence, that aggressiveness, the ability to move the ball. We've seen some plays tonight that we haven't seen all season long by the Trojans. Pinpoint passing, tic-tac-toe, and it's what you want, but they just can't finish, don't have the execution. And obviously, that is an issue if they can't do that. Students have come to show their Trojan support. You can see them right above the Trojan bench in your right-hand corner. About 20 students come out to support them. Small student section for this Tuesday night game. And Scacolosi showing that aggressiveness. She's another aggressive player there. Gets inside, forces the foul, and she'll have 2 from the line. Still just 2 team fouls on both, and that's been one way the Trojans have been able to score a lot. Get to the line, but it's just not been the game tonight. This game has gone so quickly due to this low-scoring affair. Scacolosi splits the pair. Big offensive board. Paid it 2 threes in the first half, but she can't get that one to go. Chris has another offensive board. Scacolosi might be the most confident player on the court. The junior right now, averaging 4 points per game, led the Trojans in scoring at Casa Grande with 12. And the Trojans, the narrow loss to the Gauchos. Erica battling in there. A gritty look on her face as she forces the jump ball. The Trojans getting on the ground. They flip the arrow a lot of times. They've been the more aggressive team, and they have no doubt wanted it, even when they lose their confidence. The effort is always there. There's no quit, no giving up, and they've trailed a lot, had to come back. And this could get frustrating, but don't show it too much. Oh, Scacolosi was open, but instead they had Chris with leverage, but she just couldn't finish through. Pulls down another offensive board. I think she's at 10, and Scacolosi with the 3 ball from downtown. That is huge. Angelina Scacolosi with a big impact out there, and Coach Ratchin in his second year as Trojan coach is no doubt going to leave the junior out there who played on varsity last year. She's much more of a role player, only 2.5 points per game last year, up to 4 this year, and she's shooting very good, 38% from the field. Annalie trying to, Healdsburg trying to force it back into Rogers. Well read by Chris. Era Cat trying to get in on the scoring action, and she's going to head to the line, and we're seeing a little bit new breed of aggressiveness in this fourth quarter. Trojans trying to force some fouls, get some confidence from the free-throw line, and there's no way to develop and get more confidence in your shot than hitting some free throws, and probably not a bad timeout called by Steve Zikichi, the head coach for the Greyhounds, as the Trojans take the lead back out to 6. It's been single digits this entire game. Trojans have led by as much as 8, but haven't been able to pull away. You need offense to pull away in the end, and Trojans have been unable to really muster that tonight. We'll see if they get to 40, but they found ways to win, and no matter how ugly it is, if the Trojans can find ways to get W's on the board against who they're playing, that's going to be huge. Nonetheless, Annalie is going to definitely be looking for revenge in that one, and that could be a very tough game against the Tigers on the 3rd. And Sonoma Valley really shut down the Trojans when they went to Sonoma. They won 40-30. They were trailing early in that game, and they were just able to put up enough offense in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and we're seeing a little bit new mentality here in the 4th quarter in this first minute that caused Healdsburg to call the timeout. So they're hoping to turn that around. Michael Barabal is going to join me. Don't touch it. Michael Barabal is going to join me here for the rest of this 4th quarter. Absolutely. Yeah, get his mic on in just a moment, and we should get some very good, knowledgeable color for our audience tonight. Goes on the right side. Yeah. Era Cat's first 3 throws off the mark. 3 team fouls on the Hounds. 2 on the Trojans. 7 and you're in the bonus. Era Cat can't hit both, and this has been quite a low-scoring game here, Michael. What are your thoughts on it? You've watched the first 3 quarters.
Well, the shots just aren't going down. Both teams have missed some pretty wide open layups.
Yep.
You know, it's just one of those games where both teams aren't really on their game, and it's going to come down to defense, and it's going to come down to coaching, really.
And Coach Ratchin certainly has done a great job with these Trojans. They've improved so much. Took over last year, had a rough season, but the improvement has been vast. So I think there's a lot of trust in this program and their head coach.
Yeah, he's really turned things around. There was a couple of low years after it's being a very prestigious program.
Right.
And things kind of went downhill, but get the right mesh of players and you get the right coach, things will turn around for you pretty quickly. And this is what the Trojans have.
Unable to hit the layup was Webb, and it's just been a cold shooting night, as you said, really, for both teams. And Trojans have just gone through so many of these droughts all season long where they're just barely able to throw balls in oceans. They had some wide open shots tonight on good cuts, but just feels like it always snowballs on itself, and at points they can't hit anything.
Well, it's a good thing that Healdsburg, it's a good combination of having Healdsburg having an off night. And,
yeah. I mean, the defense, I think, has been very good as well for the Trojans.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to go to that.
Great finish by Era Cat, getting to the rack, being aggressive. It does feel like, though, there's been a little bit of a new mentality in these first 2 minutes by the Trojans in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I think Coach Ratchin wants the team to pull away here. In the first matchup, they only beat Healdsburg by 4, and that game went into overtime.
Right.
So I think Ratchin really wants to pull away from these guys and get a nice lead, maybe get some reserves in.
And that was low scoring, too, 40-36. In overtime at Healdsburg. First game of the SCL season. Skakalosi has really played really well for the Trojans in these last 4 minutes. Feels like she's helped get the whole team get a little bit more confidence back and a little bit more aggressiveness.
Yeah, she's been a spark. She's brought a lot of energy to the floor. She always does. But tonight, kind of a low energy, not a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
So you need that. You need that player on every team, and she is
Definitely
that player every night out.
She has been huge tonight. And the Trojans did go inside to Jaden Christ in that first quarter. It was very effective, but Healdsburg really made the good adjustment to close that passing lane. That hasn't been open since then.
Yeah, that's an adjustment that most teams haven't been able to do. I mean, Petaluma 6-0. Most teams haven't been able to make that adjustment. And she's a force to be reckoned with every night out.
Leads the Trojans scoring, but the Hounds do have some of the better size in SCL. I think the best size after the Trojans, so that's no doubt helped them as they turn it over there. Biggest lead of the night for Petaluma, a 9-point lead here, looking to go to 7-0 in SCL, and this could really This could put the game away here and put them in a very comfortable position in SCL, already with a 2-game lead, and vanquish the Hounds from any realistic shot. Cat lost it. Catarizoli has entered. Just couldn't get it to Pate. New team is led by double digits. 5 minutes left to go here in the fourth quarter. That's an aggressive move, but there's just too much traffic inside the paint. Trojans have built a wall in there. It's led by Jaden Chris. She's such a force defensively, but there's a certain mentality in this zone defense, and it's made it so hard to score in for all teams this season, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's set up very well by Coach Ratchin. Like I said, he's done a great job with a lot of talented girls on this team, and it's a young team too. Only 3 seniors,
right.
And this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with, even in the new league next year. In the I don't know what they're officially called.
Vine Valley League, I believe it's officially called now.
Vine Valley, yeah. So I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, even with some of those bigger schools from Napa.
Right. Should be a lot of fun to see them next year. Really should be even better this year. But it does help they had 8 returners from the team last year. Yeah,
and they fell on hard times, but they got the experience, and they're showing it coming back to 15-5, 6-0 in STL play. About 4.5 minutes away from potentially going 7-0. So things are looking up, and who knows? They could be undefeated and getting their first title since 2013. Would be something special, no doubt, and Healdsburg just can't get anything going offensively. Feels like 1 or 2 more Trojan shots, and they can finish this. Great effort to pull down the board. Cat all alone, and she lays it in. First double-digit lead here, and Trojans needed a run to put this game away. Healdsburg was just hanging around here. They got the lead down to 1, but this has been the 4 minutes that the Trojans needed of really high-intensity basketball. It starts with Scacolosi out there. She's brought a ton of energy, and the rest of her teammates have been feeding off of it. And you look up one thing. You look up, it's 28-25. Now it's 36-25 in a matter of a couple of minutes. No points for Healdsburg in this fourth quarter, and they've had issues scoring all day. They've tried to go into their center, Rogers, but Chris has been great defensively inside. The Greyhounds have had an ability to score, but this Trojan defense has been so fantastic this year. Pate wide open at 2 3-pointers in the first half. Couldn't hit. Offensive board, Catarizoli. Cat with 1. Pate tries again. That time, she got it. Big bucket right there. 14-point lead, and the way Healdsburg has scored, this deficit feels close to insurmountable. It is a 13-0 run since late in that third. Scacolosi, as you said, boy, has she been the spark. Finally, some points there by Rogers inside, but the Greyhounds are going to definitely have to go quickly if they want to close this gap in 3 minutes. Yeah, Petaluma's just got to run the clock here, unless they get easy layups like that, but should really start running the shot clock maybe down to 10 and force Healdsburg to play some defense. Charge called by Cat. What a great move to step in and stand in there, and saw Kelsey Martin do that in the closing minutes against Piner. That was the key charge, I thought, in that game to close it out. Apologies if you cannot hear Michael right now. Can you talk again? I'm talking. We got just bring it closer to your face. And it's no good. Healdsburg's going to bring it up now. Hope you can hear him better. Costa with another block. Even though Nicole Costa's really struggled with her shot a lot lately, she's such a force defensively, and it feels so important as the team captain to bring that along. Yeah, she's a lifeblood of the team, and she's also a big energy producer. And some nights she doesn't need to score a lot of points. I think they have plenty of scoring with Cat and Pate and Chris. So if she can provide some defensive help and give her teammates some opportunities, that's more than what you could ask for as a coach. Definitely a great leader. Been on this team last couple of years. Was a good leader last year as well when they went through some tough times. And she knew this bright day would come. Trojans look like they're going to head to 7-0 in SCL. And
Annalee and Sonoma are the 2 games circled on the calendar that they can close out with victories. Loose ball. Healdsburg can't pull it down. Who knows if they even get to 30 tonight. It's been a remarkable defensive effort against the Healdsburg team that's shown the ability to score. They defeated Annalee on Friday night, put 54 points up on the Tigers at Annalee, which was really remarkably impressive. We saw Annalee, and really a very talented team, but the Trojans have just shut them down tonight.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch. The Trojans will have Sonoma here on senior night, so that'll be a big one. Maybe they can close out the league title there, but they still do have to go to Annalee, which is always a tough place to play for both boys and the girls, anybody who goes there. But even if they come out of that with a loss, they still are a game up, and hopefully, they can stay on this roll that they have and finish the season out very, very strong.
And it's nice to have that room for error. Obviously, I'd like to go undefeated, but Annalee, after this one, LCL and Noma, won't provide too much of a challenge, but Annalee, Sonoma Valley, and Piner to finish the season, and only Sonoma at home. That is not going to be easy. That Annalee game, Saturday evening at Sebastopol, February 3rd, and we'll certainly provide coverage of that one. That is going to be a big one, and Tigers look so frustrated because that defense gave them so much problems. They couldn't go inside the paint either, so it feels like they're going to be really motivated for that game.
Well, they had a great zone. I mean, Petaluma came out in the second half with that 2-3 zone, and Annalee could not get inside. They couldn't really get anything going, and that defense turned to offense for Petaluma, and I think they outscored them 23-8 in that third period against Annalee. So
remarkable.
Yeah.
Healdsburg will head to the line for 2 here, trying to just get to 30 points here tonight. Remarkable defensive effort all around by the Trojans, and pulled down a lot of offensive boards of help. They've definitely controlled time of possession, forced a lot of turnovers, blocks and steals, and Greyhounds haven't had one person that they can go to score after they really closed down on Rogers, and no options for them. Some reserves in there for both teams. Cassidy Bacon, Bella Weinberg, along with Lila Bacon as well. Temple and Costa remain out there. Under a minute left to go. Stay tuned for interviews after the game as Bacon's 3 is off the mark. Talk with a couple stars of this one as the Trojans have to be happy after another victory. Just so much confidence and calm from this team. What a move by Costa. That's what you want to see to get her going offensively.
Yeah, it's going to be a confidence booster heading into their next game. If Nicole Costa can get going, this team should be pretty unstoppable in the SEL.
Would really help just to get more players confident and have that ability to go to multiple players per night to score. And Kelsey Martin, typically one new player every night because of so much depth as the shot clock's turned off here. You've seen Kelsey Martin, Costa, Eric Cat, Chris, but you're going to really get them all producing. It's going to open it up for everybody and get everybody more confident. The Trojans are just going to hold it out. That's going to do it. Final score, Petaluma Trojans 43, Healdsburg Greyhounds 29. The Trojans allow only 4 points. Yes, 4 points in that fourth quarter, and that was by far the best quarter offensively for the Trojans. That helped them pull away, and it didn't even make it close at the end, did it?
Yeah, absolutely. They needed to pull away there. It was big. You had a close game with Piner there that really shouldn't have been that close, but it was nice to get a nice, easy win here against Healdsburg after a team you'd only beat by 4 in the previous matchup.
Yep. And a really talented Greyhounds team, but Trojans made their offense look inept tonight. Very impressive. Our next live stream is Monday night. Varsity boys basketball team takes on Piner. We're going to grab interviews in just a moment.
Yeah, that boys game against Piner is going to be a very big game.
Should be a good one, and obviously the very tough loss for the Varsity boys basketball team on Thursday to Healdsburg. That game's on our YouTube channel. What were your thoughts about that one, Michael?
Petaluma had played so well during that game, and it came down to the fourth quarter. Healdsburg hit some shots. I think Petaluma missed 6 straight free throws, and I can't remember a time in the past 4 years where Petaluma missed 6 straight free throws. So it's a tough one to swallow. They are a game back of Piner for a second, 2 of back of Healdsburg.
You can sit down.
And they still have a shot. They will need a little help, but definitely the boys team will have some work to do. But this is a talented group. It's a resilient group, and hopefully they can get it back. They have LC Allen tomorrow, and they're going to Elmlino on Friday. So.
What do they need to do to what do they need to do differently to help close out those tight games? They really haven't played well when it's been tight.
Well, you know, shots haven't been going down. I mean, when they went to San Rafael, a couple of shots didn't go down. They executed the game plan. You know, it just happens where shots don't go down.
You speak more into it.
And
oh, it's on XLR.
Against Healdsburg, again, you know, shots didn't go down. A couple of missed free throws. Healdsburg made a really tough shot in the last 20 seconds of that game. I think it was Desmond Swan or Tio Tomerlin.
Okay. So what you need to do, this camera, it just needs to be held. This wire is going to need to be held for it to be able to work. Yeah. If you see on there, it's just kind of, you got it to work. Hold it up like that so then you can see it on there. And then,
all right.
I don't know if, because it's, yeah. No, you can't, because if it's in, try to see, we'll be back in just a moment, so stay tuned for interviews. Try to see if you can get it so you can take your hand off and it still shows up.
Griffin is going to get some interviews. Hopefully a couple of players and Coach Ratchin. Petaluma gets the win 43-27 here on this Tuesday night in the SCL. The Trojans will move to 16-5 on the year. It's 7-0 in SCL play. Their longest winning streak of the year, and a really great turnaround season for the Petaluma girls basketball program. The JV team is also very good. They're 6-1 in SCL play. They won easily tonight against Healdsburg. The boys will be playing tomorrow night, just JV and Varsity. The Varsity will be at 7:30, JV at 6 against the LC Allen Lobos. LC Allen, a gritty team. They play hard. The Trojans compete for everything they get. So it should be a fun night of basketball tomorrow. And on Saturday, the boys are going to play Montgomery here at Petaluma High at 4 p.m. The JV will be at 2:30, freshmen at 1 o'clock, and the girls will be at Annalee in Sebastopol. JV at, I believe, 5:30, Varsity at 6. So hopefully we can get some coverage on that. That'll be a big game for the Trojans if they can take out the Tigers. That could effectively give them the Sonoma County League Championship. And hopefully the Trojans can look to stay undefeated and go 12-0 through SCL play, which hasn't been done in a while. Again, a huge win tonight for the Trojans. Angelina Scacolosi was huge. She was huge. I know it was her birthday too. It was her birthday, and she played really, really well. She was a force off the bench, and Petaluma in general played really, really well defensively. And so hopefully this is a momentum shift into the rest of the second half of the league, and so they could finish the last 5 games undefeated. And if they do, their final record would be 21-5, a very impressive record, going into the SCL tournament, where they will more than likely be the #1 seed and would host either Healdsburg, Annalee, or Sonoma based on how those teams fare against each other. And it's been really remarkable. Coach John Ratchin has done such a great job with this program. Doug Johnson led this team for 25+ years, and they went to the state championship, and it was a very prestigious program.
You have to do that. You have to do that.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Want me just to hold it?
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. All right, yeah. Can you press record on there?
Oh, I look good.
Okay, we are here with Angelina Scacolosi after the Trojans get the victory, and you felt like you were the spark tonight that really woke the team up in the fourth quarter in a tight game. How do you feel like your energy helped the team out?
Well, our intensity definitely went up from the past couple of games. And I mean, we were all working together. We went from low energy to high energy, and I think it was just like the cheering on the bench and just the cheers in the audience.
What's your attitude in a game like this it's pretty tight, defensive struggle on both sides? What's your attitude out on the court to maybe pick things up at another level?
Well, currently we're in first place, so I think that really brought our energy up, and we just wanted to win. We wanted more than anything. This was the toughest game of the year, and we definitely pulled it out this year.
You're one of the more aggressive and physical players on the court. Where does that nature come from?
I actually don't know. I just get angry, and then I just take it out on the court. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't answer for that.
You guys have gone through some offensive struggles of late. You have Annalee, Sonoma, Pina coming up. Those are going to decide if you can close out the league title. What do you need to do offensively to make sure you can close out those games?
I think we just need to keep up what we've been doing. I think offense is definitely one of our weakest points, but I mean, if we keep on having good defense, then I think we're good.
Thank you, Angelina.
You're welcome.
Right, that was Angelina Scacalosi. We are going to talk with, sorry if that was a little quiet, but you can get the full thing on our YouTube channel, and then we are going to talk with Jaden Christ in just a moment. Annika, can you talk? I hope the sound. Pretty high up on there. Oh, yeah.
Hi everyone. So Griffin's gonna go get Jaden Christ, one of the star players in tonight's game. She really put up a fight out there, and I think just her energy is what the other team kind of feared and what made them not be able to come back with a score at the end. As you can see, tonight's theme was tie-dye. There were some PHS students out here I love the school spirit. It's always something we're trying to work on here at PHS, our school spirit. Oh, okay. I feel like I lied down.
Oh. Well, Jaden Chris didn't want the interview, but she did volunteer her teammate Kylie Pate, who had a couple big threes early in the first half, and your three-point shooting percentage is actually higher than your field goal percentage. How does three-point shooting bring out the best in you?
I don't know. It's just something I've always practiced. So, like, that was kind of my goal, to be a better three-point shooter, because I tend to be open there. So, yeah.
You describe yourself as a very aggressive shooter. When you open, you take the shots. How does that mentality come from, and how has that helped the team in getting key buckets when you guys are cold?
Well, when I actually start like making them, I'll just keep going, because if I'll go in, I want to score. So, yeah.
The team was tenacious tonight defensively, only allowed 29 points to a really good Healdsburg team. How has your guys' defense been so dominant, especially tonight?
I feel like we just have a lot of energy and we get mad. All of us get really mad, so that helps.
You guys force a lot of turnovers. You're always diving on the floor. It feels like you guys are always giving the most effort. What do you think that shows about this team, and how far do you think that can help take this team?
I think we can go pretty far. We got a good team, and we're always trying, and we're always like looking to get better, and we get mad, so that helps.
Thank you, Kylie.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that was Kylie Pate. The team gets mad. Both players said it. They give their full effort out. They were down. It was tight tonight. Angelina Scacalosi was the spark. Kylie Pate forced some key turnovers, hit a couple threes. That helps the Trojans out. A very good fourth quarter for them. It helped them pull away from a strong Greyhounds team. They are 7-0 Autica in SCL, undefeated, a 2-game lead in first place. They vanquish Healdsburg, and they look like they're in control for their first SCL title since 2013. Our next Varsity Girls basketball live stream will be when they take on the Sonoma Valley Dragons in a game that might be the potential clincher for the SCL title. 7 o'clock tip. That game is February 6th. And do not miss before that, we're going to be at their huge game at Italy on the 3rd on Saturday night. And then that game will be on our YouTube channel by Sunday morning. So don't miss that. Our next live stream is the Varsity Boys basketball game against Piter on Monday. And then it's the Varsity Wrestling Team senior night against Annalee a week from tomorrow. For Michael Barabalt, Annika Schmidt, Greer Moss, and everyone else that helped out tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, everyone. Trojans win once again.